Great. Welcome everyone to another localized event. If you are new to the community, we are super happy to have you here. If you're coming back again, we're also super happy to have you here another time. But if you are new, we would like to introduce Localize to you. So Localize is a global platform where we connect students and recent graduates from emerging markets. So especially the regions of Latin America, Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Southeast Asia to job opportunities and career resources. And part of that, of those career resources is our amazing pool of experts who come every week to guide you in different topics, in different careers, and to give you tips on how to either start your career or select a career if you haven't. So if you're in college, this is the time to ask any questions. If you're transitioning or you're thinking on like getting another role, to transition to another industry, this is also the place to ask any questions you might have about that role or about that industry. So as you might know, today we're gonna be talking about entry-level international roles and how is it to work in an IT and global company. So in this case, we're gonna be not only talking, but relying on how is it to work at Cisco because our expert worked at Cisco. And so our expert today, I'm gonna quickly introduce you. Our expert today is Shaden Morsy. So she embarked on her Cisco journey as an intern during her senior year, university year. And then she swiftly transitioned to a consulting engineering role, approaching her graduation in 2021. So we're gonna be talking about this transition. How is it to get a role in a global company as an intern, and how is it to like get a full-time then after being an intern in a global company. So she had a focus on networking, programming, and automation, where she deployed her skills in cutting-edge Cisco Solutions, and she also work in various customer smart transformation and digitalization initiatives across the Middle East and Africa region. So I was seeing a lot of people joining from different countries in Africa. So if you have any questions about those projects and specifically or how maybe is it to work in a project in Africa in a company like Cisco, you can ask any questions at any time. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and start the conversation. I see someone has their hand raised. If you have any comment or any question, you can type that in the chat or send that in the Q&A and we will make sure to address that. So just because of like times and like to give everyone the chance to send their questions. So again, you can send those in the chat or Q&A at any time, send your questions. So I would like to start this conversation with, I kind of already introduced you, but if you can introduce yourself, share your background, and then if you can start like telling us the story of how did you land your first internship at Cisco and where you are in the world and also currently professionally.
Sure. Thank you, Michelle, for this wonderful introduction and for having me today. It's an honor to be here. So, well, you summarized pretty much most of my background, but my undergraduate studies focused on computer engineering. And engineering in Egypt is a 5-year program. So during my senior year of college, which was my 5th year, I landed an internship in Cisco. And it was actually a non-technical internship. It was mostly focused on project management and operations management, but we also get to explore the technical side of Cisco. We obtain multiple certifications like our CCNA, which is like a Cisco Networks certification and associate certification. And we got to train on multiple things during the internship. And after like a 9 months period of interning at Cisco, I joined Cisco as a full-time employee, but I converted from being a non-technical intern to being a completely technical person, which kind of aligned a little bit with my undergraduate studies and focus during my undergraduate studies. And after about 3 years of interning and working at Cisco, I unfortunately had to leave to pursue my master's, which is on the other side of the world in Australia. But it's now mostly focused on cybersecurity. Yeah, that's pretty much a very brief intro about my journey during the past 3 years.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And many of our attendees and also like many of the users and people who will be watching the recording are still in college or trying to get their first job. So can you walk us through how was the process for you, maybe from the moment you first started like to look for a job or an internship in this case, and how was that process, even like thinking what you wanted to do, and then how did you apply to Cisco in your case? How was that whole process for you?
Mm. Yeah, I understand it can be a bit overwhelming because I've been in this position before. And I just kind of applied to everything. I was applying for everything. And I wasn't sure that Cisco's going to accept me because Cisco is one of the biggest names in the corporate world, and it is such a wonderful place to work at. But I just basically applied for everything, and I guess I also interned. I had like an internship during my undergraduate studies, and I also used to volunteer during my undergraduate studies, so that helped me a little. Land my first interview question, my first round of interviews with Cisco. And I think I was very oblivious and a bit lost. I didn't have any expectations, but the people made it such an easy process to transition. And I even remember in my first interview, the HR person was asking me, how many languages do you know? And I kept on listing all the programming languages I know, and she meant just normal languages, human languages. So it was all a very, intense experience for me. But I think they made the transition very easy, and they were very welcoming, and they understood that I was back then a fresh graduate or still at university. So they were really, really friendly and helpful throughout this process. So basically, I just applied and then got my first round of interviews with an HR person. And then afterwards, after about 2 weeks, I got my two other interviews. One of them was a managerial interview where we discussed more about the soft skills. They were trying to put me in like situations and how would I react under certain circumstances if a customer's sentiment is, for example, not very well. How can I accommodate that? And then the technical interview, which they sent me in advance, like a presentation. They gave us a specific topic on Cisco related products, and I basically just prepared very, very well for this technical interview. So I was able to answer all the questions, even if they were a little bit unexpected in the beginning. But yeah, it was a very smooth transition. I think that that's one of my favorite things about Cisco is that everyone there is genuinely helpful, and they understand how it's like to be completely new to the business and tech world, even if that's your background in college.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I love how you say how they are so welcoming to like new people, like when, because even if you're graduating from college or you have had a few years of experience, whenever you're
Yeah,
starting a new job, it can be hard, any transition you're doing. So
definitely.
that's great to know that companies like that actually welcomes and like embrace new people and like help you grow in it. So thank you for that.
Oh,
And I'm curious. Yeah, yeah, sorry.
no, no, no. I just wanted to add like one of the things that was actually told to me when I was asking them for the feedback is that they were not assessing me on my technical skills because that's something you can always learn and something you can always like catch on during the job. But they were mostly assessing me on my soft skills because that's very, very difficult to change afterwards. You just have to be in the right mindset to work there, and that's all.
Right. And I would like to do a follow-up question to that. One of the questions that actually always we always get is what soft skills do we have to develop if we're still in college, to actually prepare for example, a job at Cisco or at a global company like Cisco, apart from the technical skills that we might get from our bachelor's, whatever we're studying in college. What do you think are some key soft skills to like thrive in a company like this or in a role like yours?
Hmm. I think because a lot of what I did at Cisco was customer facing, so I needed to really be able to absorb or understand when the customer will be upset or worried about something, and just kind of try to absorb what they feel. Trying a lot of reassurance as well, because you need to be able to listen to the customer, not get very defensive, even if you're on the right side, but still you need to understand that you're both working together. You and the customer are both working together, and it's a partnership. It doesn't, they don't need to feel like this is business. We're purely, it's not transactional. You need to be able to listen and accommodate for the customer. And also, I think curiosity. So one of the positive feedback that I got from the internship, from the interviews for the internship, was that I asked a lot of questions. And even though it can be a little, well, nerve-wracking that you're bombarding people with all the questions, but still it's good to learn about the culture of the work, even if you don't land the job. But at least that's actually the only time you would get to talk with people that genuinely work there and have experienced the work culture there, to really know how the work culture is there, know if they're genuinely happy, try to learn more from them, basically. So I think that's very important, apart from obviously doing an intensive research on the kind of role you're getting yourself into in the company overall, if it aligns with your own goals. Sorry, because at the end of the day, okay, you're going to be working for a big company, but you need to make sure that you also wouldn't feel like out of place. So it's all like a very mutual communication kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. And I will do more follow-up questions about like the whole interview process, because I think that's really interesting and how you prepare yourself for that moment, which is some of the tips that many people here will like to hear. But before that, I would also like to know just a little bit more of how was the day-to-day look like for you, if you remember, when you were an intern first, like what was the type of activities you were doing at first? Yeah, how was the day-to-day look like?
Mm. So it involved a lot of studying. We had to do a lot of studying, and I think I'm very grateful for that. But I don't think, ever since I left university and transitioned to Cisco, I don't think I ever stopped studying. So there were a lot of certifications, which really, really helped me through my professional career, because you get to really apply them not just on a theoretical aspect, but just on a practical aspect as well. And we get a lot of technical workshops with the subject matter experts that used to work at Cisco. And I think that's one of the reasons that I loved cybersecurity, because we had one of the technical workshops with a genius cybersecurity expert who's been working at Cisco for over, I think, 20 years. And the fact that they were very passionate about what they do and how they mitigated the vulnerabilities and all this, I think that's one of the reasons I really, really loved cybersecurity, and, well, went to the other side of the planet to pursue a master's specifically in cybersecurity. But yeah, mostly certifications, a lot of technical workshops, a lot of um, soft skill interviews as well. They put us in like role plays, and because you really, as an intern, you don't get to see the side of business as much, like coming out of college. But then you really get to be the expert, and they pretend to be the customer, so you get a better view on how business life works, and how to talk, and how to mitigate any, how to absorb the anger or escalations, how to escalate properly, because that's also something that's very important, how to reach out to another person if you actually don't understand or don't know the answer to their problem. And it's okay to not know the answer to every problem, because there would also be someone to help you out throughout the whole process. So yeah, it was a mix between technical skills and soft skills that I think are very, very important in career and in life in general.
Yeah, thank you. It sounds like it was also like a lot of well, you mentioned the word learning, but also observing all of those like learnings, and also like from people who you might not be working directly with, but like this speaker who came and talk about cybersecurity and how you link to that.
Yeah.
So absorbing all the information, all the experiences from other people, being open-minded to like learn new things, and also um being responsible and accepting like not the limits, but like, of course, if you're just graduating from college, you wouldn't know everything, and you never know everything, to be honest. So like also like being able to communicate when you don't know something, and like asking for help. So it sounds
Yeah.
like there was also like a lot of that during like the internship, which I guess applies for any internship in any company, having
Yeah.
those skills.
And there were also a lot of shadowing. So we get to shadow a lot of people when they were doing their actual work. So it
Mhm.
also gave you a little bit of expectations on how to expect when you actually transition to being a full-time employee. And they kind of had like a rotational thing, so we not only shadow like project managers or operations managers, but also technical people, how they deal with escalations, how they try to brainstorm in order to find a solution to a technical problem, how they actually communicate with the customer and try to see what their pain points are and what their business needs are. So that was a very, very informative internship.
Yeah, and even if like, I mean, I guess companies like Cisco and like global companies or like big companies like Cisco have these programs, but even if, for example, whoever is listening to this live or like watching the recording is like planning to or working in a smaller company, a local company, or like a startup, they might not have these programs like developed or in place, but it doesn't mean you cannot do that. Like, for example, if you're interested in like whatever your coworker is doing, or in a certain role you will aspire to in a few years, you can always shadow them. Like you can go and ask them directly, like, hey, I'm interested in whatever you're doing. I would like to learn more about it. So even if these programs are not in place, you can actually like just do that and ask people for help, and to learn, and people will always be happy to like help you learn something new. So just encouraging everyone, in case there's not a similar program in your company or in whatever company you're trying to apply to. um and and now, so that was your experience as an intern. So now I'm curious, how was like the transition between being an intern to now becoming a full-time person, and how different or similar were the roles between being an intern and then transitioning to a consulting engineering in your case. And you mentioned at the beginning there was something about like technical skills and how I think you transitioned to something more technical, but can you like share the transition period and also how different or similar were the roles?
Yeah, absolutely. So I fell in love with security after all the certifications and all the studying on security, and after hearing all those subject matter experts talking about it. And I really wanted to pursue a technical role in security. So I asked my manager, and that's also one of the one of the best parts about Cisco is that the environment is very dynamic. And if there is a role that someone can see you fit in it, they will really help you reach your goal. if there's an opportunity that arises. So I asked my manager because I wanted to pursue a more technical role, and we already were doing all the certifications for the technical role, and there was actually an opening, so I switched to a consulting engineer. And it was a little bit different, a lot different actually than the internship, because it was not 100% technical, because you still get to, there's still the customer facing side, the consulting side, where you get to talk with the customer, understand where their pain points are, how you can help them. But you're, at the end of the day, you're the single point of contact when it comes to technology between the project, Cisco, and the customer. So you're the customer subject matter expert, and that was basically my role. I joined consulting engineering as a security consulting engineer, and also as a software consulting engineer. So I was doing both things simultaneously. And it still did involve a lot of studying, a lot of exams. But it was mostly just very technical, focused on the technical side of things. When it came to security, we focused on Cisco products, how we can um, like align them inside of the customer's infrastructure to protect their environment and to protect whatever they have in their data centers, whatever websites they have, their emails. So Cisco has a very diverse range of security portfolio. And when it came to software, we would just tailor software solutions to customers according to their demands and business needs. So yeah, so the amazing part about it is that you still get to speak with customers, understand what they need, and try to apply it from a technical sense of things. And also, it really helped me keep up with all technology, because you really need to always keep up to date with everything going on, because the technology field advances every single day. And yeah, that was one of the things that I really liked about my work, is that I was never not studying. A little bit stressful, but very helpful, especially when you're dealing with customers in such a critical role as in security role or software.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And again, like we go back again to like the type of soft skills that maybe when you're in college, you don't imagine you will need these soft skills for a technical role if you're pursuing something technical, but you do. So, so you were like facing problems that customers are facing, and even if you're not interacting directly with the customers, and there's someone like sending you or like telling you these problems for you to develop the solution, you will have to have this skill to like understand how the user might be reacting to these problems. So thank you for sharing that. And also you mentioned something about how you were like trying to stay updated on all the changes on the sector or on the field. So can you give us like some tips or just like share your experience on how you were like staying up on the trends and on the changes in your sector?
Hmm. So, well, the internet has so many resources, and sometimes it can get very overwhelming trying to look for all these resources, where to go. But for me, I think what worked best for me was just um, like I would be put on the job, and then I'd find out, okay, I need to understand this part more. So then I'd go to online platforms like Coursera, Pluralsight, Udemy, and then try to look for courses that would just match the technical skills that I need for the job. And also certifications that are relevant to my job. So I'd look online, for example, certifications that I need to be equipped with necessary technical information, and then I would get these certifications. And also just following people on LinkedIn, really, whether it's a blog or a newsletter. I would just follow people on LinkedIn. And when it came to security, I would sometimes practice my skills on like online platforms like Hack the Box, trying to understand what vulnerabilities are existing on machines, because it really opens your eyes on the very small things that people can, or attackers can really take advantage of a system. And then you look for, okay, how did the website mitigate these kind of attacks? What techniques did they use to mitigate these kind of attacks? So you put yourself in both the attacker's mindset and the the person protecting the infrastructure's mindset. So it really helps you out, understanding all of the security aspects that you need to.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And now, like going back to like your own journey and your experience. So I'm curious to see if you have like any like insights on, apart from your own experience, what does a career in computer engineering or science might look like at a junior level, and what type of roles can people graduating from college aspire to? So maybe based on your experience and like other interns at the company, or like also like, I don't know, friends you graduated with and you saw like they were going to these like positions. So how does the landscape looks like for someone graduating from what you graduated in?
So I think the beauty of computer engineering or computer science is that it lays down the foundation for you to basically work at anything. So if you want to be a data scientist, go for it. If you want to work as an AI machine learning engineer, you can also do that. If you want to be a developer, work on the back end, front end database, go for that. If you want to work at cybersecurity, go for that. If you want to work even at a non-technical role, and you find yourself more drawn to that, like project management or any non-technical role, you can also go for that. If you like technical sales, then also sky's the limit. So I think the beauty about computer engineering and science is that it really gives you the foundation to everything, and then you really you get to choose which like course you or which topic you really want to focus on and you want to specialize in. So yeah, I think my degree really helped me into at least trying to figure out which career I want to go. So I have friends currently that are data scientists, friends that are project managers, friends that are game developers, so people that are working with AR, augmented reality, and virtual reality, and all of that, and people who are working at a non-tech other non-technical roles. So yeah, I think this is a very dynamic degree that helps people if you're uncertain about what your future and career will be, which is very valid because it's a lot of information and so many things someone can specialize in, but it really helps you, gives you this, foundation to go and pursue what you would like to pursue later on.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for that. And before we move to the next question, as we approach half of the session, I would like to invite everyone, if you haven't, to send your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. And every question is allowed. Like if you're curious about our experts experience, if you have something more specific you would like to ask about the process of like applying or your own experience, please send your questions. I see someone already sent a question. We have it, Eddie. We will go there soon. And again, send your questions and we will continue with the conversation, but I just wanted to invite everyone before we moved on. So I would like to now ask you about, so you were mentioning in the beginning that you felt like volunteering when you were like starting to look for an internship, applying for internships as a student. Of course, when you're looking for your first internship, you don't have work experience, but that doesn't mean you don't have experience doing things or like developing certain skills. And you mentioned in your case, you did some volunteering during, I guess, during college. So can you explain more about that, what you were doing, and how do you think this help you maybe apply or get the role in your case?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually, sorry, I actually volunteered to be a cultural instructor in China with Isaac. So yeah, I've done volunteering there for around 2.5 months. And it was, I think it really did help me land a job at Cisco. And that was one of the positive feedback that I got, is that I dealt with a lot of international people and I got to delve within their own with their own traditions, within their own languages, that something that I've never been exposed to before, because at university you always sometimes tend to be in your own bubble with your own people. So that was just out there on the complete different side of the world, and then trying to get to know new people and understand their culture, teach them about your culture as well. And it was a very rewarding experience. And I think it really opened my mind to a lot of things. And then afterwards, I interned at the University of Porto in Portugal, in the smart energy system, which is also a bit different than what I'm doing right now. But because I also had the degree, I guess, in computer science, really helps you explore all sides of things. And I also got to communicate and deal with scholars and researchers that are very, very, very intelligent in the smart energy sector, and get to optimize things using machine learning and very advanced techniques in the Portuguese market as well. So that, I guess, gave me an edge. And that was one of the positive feedback that I got during my interviews at Cisco as well, is that I traveled a lot and communicated with a lot of people. So I guess it just helps you understand and have an open mind about the people that are around you. And I guess that's also a trait that is that you're expected to have in your work, is that you're expected to be able to listen to other people and understand that we may not all come from similar backgrounds, but we just need to have some mutual respect for one another and be able to listen to one another and communicate with one another effectively in order for, at the end of the day, to reach to our ultimate goal.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those experiences. They sound like a lot of fun to do. And it's amazing that you had the opportunity, but also even if like people don't have the opportunity, let's say, to go volunteer abroad, which you can always look for opportunities in. Um, like whatever you're volunteering in, I guess the important thing here is like how you were able to first like learn what you actually got from the volunteering experience, like communicating with other cultures, like learning them about my culture, or like even like learning to be open-minded to like other ways of thinking. Even when you're speaking another language, you might not find the specific words, so you have to like develop another skill to explain yourself. So I guess like there were two things, like you were able to like learn what you got from these opportunities, and then how to communicate and translate these experiences and like learnings and skills you develop into another setting that maybe directly you wouldn't find necessarily related, but it always like it always work to bring new skills to a new place. So it seems like that was like really really smart, and like it's not easy for everyone to translate the skills you get from a volunteering experience. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course. And yeah, like you said, people can do it anywhere. There are a lot of clubs at universities in general, that help you volunteer, become part of a bigger community. And I guess that really helps you at least work with teamwork, which is also a needed skill, because you wouldn't be working alone in a
Right.
company as big as Cisco, or any part of your life, really. You just need to understand how to be able to deal with other people and communicate with them effectively.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have, I'm curious, do you have apart from like getting volunteer opportunities in whatever people are interested in, do you have any other like tips or like steps you would recommend college students taking while still in college to develop new skills outside their normal like courses, technical skills?
I think something that also really helped me is just trying to connect with people on LinkedIn in general. If someone has gone through a similar career path or a career path that I would like to potentially follow, someone that I see myself 5 years from now as, then I just reach out to them, ask them a specific question because we wouldn't want to waste anyone's time. We just, just ask a specific question. And most of the people, especially the people who've gone through similar experience, they just really want to help because they've been in your shoes earlier. And yeah, I guess this and just trying to either volunteer or trying to intern, just trying to be present, I think. Just try to
Mhm.
step up, get out of your comfort zone, and apply anywhere. If you want to apply to Apple, apply there, get rejected, ask for the feedback, get their feedback, and see the steps that you actually need to follow in order to in order to work there. And that's how it goes. They just need to see your enthusiasm and go for it. Get out of your comfort zone and go for it. That's what I would say.
Amazing. Thank you. Just yesterday, it reminded me that just yesterday I was watching this video, I think on Instagram or some type of social media, and there was a Mexican. So I'm Mexican for those of you who might not know. And so there was a Mexican talking how they applied, well, he applied 17 times, I think, to NASA, and he was about to give up, and he was like, like it doesn't take me meant like a lot of time to just keep applying. At the end, he got hired by NASA. So it's just like a short story related to what you just said. Like, you might think you might not get selected, but even during the process, even if you get rejected by a company you want to work in, you might get insights on why did you get rejected. And that can help you either get a job at that same company or in another company, now that you have that insight. Um, so yeah, thank you for that encouragement.
Oh, of course. And
Um,
by the way, when I applied to Cisco, I 100% thought that I was not going to get accepted because Cisco is such a big corporate, and I didn't have the technical experience to be a consulting engineer or to be whatever the position was back then. But that wasn't what they were looking for, apparently. They just wanted a person that has the right mindset to do the work. And they really do teach you everything on the job. So you just have to have a foundation, have passion for what you want to work in, and go for it.
yeah, thank you for that. Um, so I guess I have like two, three more questions. I see some questions coming up. Thank you for sending those, guys. We will answer them in shortly. So I'm curious about one of like, if you can share one of the best experiences or like one of your favorite projects that you were able to work in during your time at Cisco, and why was this like a rewarding experience?
Mm, um, so I think one of my favorite projects. So the thing about Cisco that I really love is that the environment is very dynamic, and if you want to go and try another position or just try to find another role or see if you're interested in another role, you can do this as long as people have the bandwidth or capacity to allow you to shadow them. So I was actually working with another team, the customer advisory team. And basically, how the customer advisory team works is that they would be also similar to consulting engineers, but just not focused on Cisco products, just more of a generic consultancy kind of role. So it was an oil and gas project, something that is very unrelated to my major. And I was very inexperienced when it came to oil and gas, but they really gave me the platform to do my thing, to learn and to grow. And one of the requirements was basically to do benchmarking to other oil and gas companies to try to find what smart solutions or digital solutions do they use so we can apply them to our current customer, the smart digitization of our current customer. And what I did was that I created like an algorithm where basically it went and done some web scraping, and then all the information that it got from the internet, I presented it in a visually appealing way. and that really, they were very impressed by this. And I was very, very happy as someone who's also inexperienced in customer advisory, that they really allowed me the chance to grow and go there and explore. And this not only did help me learn more about something that I'm interested in myself, but it also allowed me to grow because it gave me exposure to the customers as well, and it really helped us out with the project. And that is one of the best things about Cisco, is that they really give you, it's such a dynamic environment that enables you to explore and brings out the best part of you basically. And I think that was one of my best experiences working at Cisco.
Amazing. It does sounds like a really exciting project, especially when you're an early talent, on when you're like just starting your career, like having that opportunity to fully like do a project like this. It sounds really exciting. Um, and we actually have a question that is kind of related coming from Eddie. So they're sharing on the Q&A that they're currently studying digital transformation. And they have a background in computational physics. So they're looking for an internship opportunity, I guess, now in digital transformation. So do you have like any tips, or do you know any type of like internships that they can aspire to, or any type of roles they can aspire to?
Um, I think well, my one tip is that Cisco has a great customer advisory role. I'm not sure if they actually offer internship roles, because they did post a while back, but it was mostly a mid-senior level role, customer advisory, and they really do focus on digital transformations. So I've worked with this team on multiple projects on the transformation of smart towers and smart buildings. And we had um, we had another project where it was actually like an island, a luxury vacation island that we wanted to digitally transform into an all integrated smart island. That was one of the things we worked on. And then the final project was with the oil and gas company. So it's very interesting. And all these projects are very dynamic, and you get to learn everything from the very beginning. It's a lot of research, it's a lot of learning, it's a lot of reaching out to people, a lot of data, a lot of processing these data, but it really does teach you a lot about the current market, the current trends and benchmarks. And yeah, the this role is a very interesting role if you'd like to look more into it. But I'm not sure if they're offering any internship or entry level roles though.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I just actually shared a couple of minutes ago on the chat our like jobs board in localize. So for everyone looking for an internship or a job opportunity, like it depends, it will depend on what you're looking for. But you can go and check if we have opportunities related to what you're looking for there. Just make sure to filter. I guess whenever you open that, it will personalize for you depending on your location and your background. But if not, because I just sent the general link, you can filter on the upper right corner the location based on your country or whatever location you're looking for. So there's another resource there. And then there was another question I wanted to ask you, but I see we have more questions coming up. If you haven't, send your questions in the chat or Q&A. So my other question is, so you mentioned already that you are studying a cybersecurity master's in Australia right now. And so you already shared like kind of like the beginning of this or the start of like this interest in this topic for you, and how that happened from a talk at your former company. But I'm curious, like, what was also like the thought process? How did you envision this not only impacting in your career, but also how do you see, and I know you're only starting in cybersecurity now, but like how do you see cybersecurity may be impacting the industry in general, based on your experience and what you were working on?
Mm. So I wanted to obtain a master's in cybersecurity because I wanted to deepen my technical expertise in this specific field. And I wanted to focus on cybersecurity with all its different aspects. So, application security, software security, network security, which is a little bit what I was doing at Cisco. But I wanted to delve more into cybersecurity from all its different wide portfolio. And then like try maybe even return back to Cisco with this knowledge, but I feel like this was the right career move for me right now. And I also wanted to understand more about the Asia Pacific region. I had no idea how does the business in this side of the world operates, and I wanted to learn more about their expertise in this field as well. And sorry, what was the your other part of the question?
Yeah. So how do you see, or what do you thought cybersecurity is important in your field in general, not only for your career, but like in the sector in general?
Because I think that everything is connected to the internet, to the cloud right now. And no matter what it is, even when it comes to, I don't know, medical equipment or I don't know, everything is connected to the internet. And I was actually one of the things that actually made me want to study cybersecurity is that I got scammed once when I was at university. And it was during COVID, and there was a high surge of scammers and people that were trying to steal information from people over the internet. And I was very naive. So I just wanted to understand the, the nuts and the bolts of this field and how can I protect myself and the community around me from all these attacks that are very, very malicious and could be mitigated. So I think you can't really go anywhere without having cybersecurity with all its very extensive portfolio within the system.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry you you face that, I guess. Not all of people, but maybe if you haven't, even if you haven't experienced that directly, you have heard about someone experiencing that, or you have been close to like experience something like that. So that's really true. It can happen like anywhere to everyone.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that. And I know we only have a couple of minutes, so I know we have one more question from the attendees, and I have one last question for you. So well, I'm actually gonna take the one from the attendees to make sure we have time. So you already mentioned before, we were talking about key soft skills that you have to develop, but someone in the chat, well, in the Q&A is asking if you can repeat, please, and like maybe summarize the key soft skills that they should like prepare themselves with. And I remember you mentioned something about um like like talk like working with customers, working in teams, communication. Is there any other key soft skills that they should like keep?
I don't think there is a one size fits all combination, but I guess the most important thing is to just be a team player, understand that you'll be working with different people, be inquisitive and always curious, always eager to learn and always eager to talk to people and understand, like shadow people and get mentors and understand what they do in their job. Just be inquisitive and don't be scared to ask many questions, even if it gets annoying, but that's how you learn. And I don't think I have much to say about this. Just try to connect with as much people as you can. Keep an open mind. Understand that not everyone will have the same background as you are. Um, and yeah, just fake it till you make it, basically.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And my last question now is that I don't want to miss this. You were actually mentioning already some great tips about the interview phase. So you were mentioning, based on your experience, how you were asking a lot of questions, even though you were the one taking the interview. So apart from this, well, can you mention why and the importance of like asking questions in the interview, and also any other tips you might have, based on your experience to like pass the Cisco interview, or just for any like, I guess these tips can work for any internship interview someone might have.
Yeah, I think it's important to ask questions because even if you don't get past the interview, that's the closest you can get with the people that are actually working there. And you get to learn more about the work culture that you're going to get yourself into because at the end of the day, if we're going to spend 50% of our time working at a place, we need to understand and feel like we're going to enjoy working at the place. And also learn about the future career prospects. Is that the actual job suitable for you? Are you going to grow from this job? Where do you see yourself? As cliche as it sounds, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's also important because you need to be sure that this fits well with your career and future plans as well. So it's just important to get insights from someone that actually is working there from the inside, even if you're not going to be joining the company. And it's also good to connect with people. Asking questions make people want to give you answers and talk more to you about their experiences, which creates a connection that may be useful for you when you're trying to network in the future for another job, for instance. So yeah, I think this is very important. And if I can give any tip or any advice to anyone, is that just apply to anything. And even if you don't get there, the feedback is going to be and enough incentive for you to start looking at the things that you may be lacking or you may still need to work on and how you can actually work on these things to be part of your dream company.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And just another quick resource related to that I share on the chat. We will have a workshop on actually how to pass the interview, how to answer key questions, how to ask the right questions for an interview in English, which for many or the majority of people in this call, or in the platform in general, English might not be your first language. Not for everyone, but like for many of us. So that there's that in case you want to attend that workshop and prepare for any interview you might have. And just before closing the session, first I want to thank you for your time. We know it's super late in Australia right now, but thank you for staying up, for sharing your experience. Thank you for everyone for joining. Whatever times you're in, thank you for joining and asking the questions. And I don't know if you have any last words or any last tip before we go.
Well, no, just thank you, Michelle, for this wonderful meeting. It's been a pleasure. And I just want to reassure everyone that I know it can be a very overwhelming process and can get very lost trying to, like move from your education life to your career life and business world. But just don't be scared to reach out to people because most of us have been in your shoes and everyone would try to help out with as much as they can. So yeah, don't go forward with it with an open mind. And yeah, I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we hope to see everyone here in another localized session. Register for upcoming events and for the workshops. And if you have any questions at any time, you can always reach out to me through the same platform, through Localize. You can send a message if you have any questions about the platform, if you want to reach out to an expert, or any questions you might have. We're happy to help you. And thank you again, Shaden, for your time. And we wish you the best of your rest of day, or end of day in Shaden case. So thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Michelle. Have a great day yourself. Bye bye.
Bye.